I feel like I'm just like.
1 minute warning.
Yeah, me too.
Now it's 6 o'clock, and I'll call the meeting to order. Rob, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Least,
Here.
Mrs. Sweet,
Here.
that's the wrong paper.
I'm still here.
Ms. Least,
Here.
Mrs. Sweet,
Here.
Mr. Bear,
Here.
Mr. Whitaker,
Here.
Mr. Avery,
Here.
Mr. Hannah.
Here.
All right, everybody's present this evening. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good evening, everyone. This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council. This is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah, thank you. Do we have any additions to our agenda this evening?
I have one thing, sir.
Mrs. Sweet?
And under committee reports, Parks Committee update.
Parks, Mr. Bear. And Mrs. Sweet, you want yours under communication or? Okay,
So.
you are
unless
welcome.
You think it should go somewhere else?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the minutes from the Tuesday, December 10th regular session of the Enon Village Council. And if those look satisfactory to the council, I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
And call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as presented. Rob, I'll turn it over to you for the finances. You got a lot of papers for us tonight, and you also have a resolution to proceed, so good evening.
Good evening. So the minutes for the organizational meeting, I don't have those typed up yet, but you'll have them at the next meeting to approve. Financials for the month of December and thus for the end of the year are before you. Those were emailed out a week or so ago for your review. I would just say overall, we've ended 2024 in a pretty healthy place. Really pleased with our general fund balance and our water balance in particular. Street balance is creeping on up, which we knew it would. We had some bigger expenses there at the end of the year that used some cash, but I'm heading in the right direction. So our balances to end 2024 were general fund, $252,000, $807.84. Street, $38,095.46. We are only in the hole on that federal grant, $65,000 now. ARPA funds still have $43,975.53 in the bank. All of that is encumbered, though, so that meets the requirement for that money. It's for the playground equipment, so we have the PO out for that, and when that stuff's delivered, we'll cut that final check and we'll be able to close that out. Police levy ends the year with $187,101.27. Special police fund has $10,327.11. The mayor's court ended the year with $2,722.50. We just cut a check for about $2,100 yesterday. So that's gone down quite a bit, but that's for the software system that the court uses for the docket. Water fund, $355,000, $719.51. Water contingency, which we did not add anything to last year, ends with $109,822.34. Total funds at the end of the year, $936,687.18. Is there any questions?
We didn't have to write anything for that ARPA for last year, right? Even though we have it because they're already allocated for that playground? So we didn't have to, did we have to spend that by last year or not?
We had to encumber it by the end of the year.
encumber it, okay.
Encumber by the end of the year, so yes. So we don't have anything budgeted in '25 for it.
Okay.
When we pull the '25 financials, you see that there's no cash carry, or there's no carryover available for that. And that used the entirety of it on that PO, and we had a little bit of appropriation left in the park general fund line that we were able to cover the rest of it. So all that playground equipment will be paid with $24.
Perfect, Thanks.
So looking at the final appropriation status dated 12/31/24, we spent 94% of what we had appropriated, so we were 6% under overall with all funds. So good job to our department heads for making sure we did not run over, and that's good news.
Yeah, good job.
Unless there are any questions, could we approve those?
I'll move that we approve the bank reconciliation for 31 December 24.
Second.
And call the roll, please.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
So the books are officially closed for 2024. We've already been in touch with the accounting firm that compiles our financial notes that are required for our reporting to the state of Ohio. He's begun his work. I actually think that we'll probably be done with that by the end of the month. We have to file those things by the end of February, so I think we're going to be about a month ahead and can completely close everything down, which is good because this is an audit year, so we'll be able to turn all of our files over whenever they're ready to pick them up.
And you're talking about the Hinkle report?
That's part of it, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll probably need to find another contact for that next year because I think he's going to retire.
It looks like he probably already has, and he's in like a consulting status, so he's doing it, and I don't know how much work he's going to do, but
Awesome.
there's somebody else there that would do it too,
Okay.
if we wanted to do.
Good deal.
Whatever counts as preference. So that ends my report in terms of financials, unless anybody has any questions.
I'd just like to thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate that. The next thing for me is you should have a document titled Resolution to Proceed of the Taxing Authority. This is part 2 of 2 that we have to do to get the police levy on the ballot. You'll notice a couple things just to describe the millage rate that this levy would bring in is a lower rate than the previous levy was. But this will bring in an equal amount of money that the former levy did, just because of an increase in the valuation of the combined property values within the village. This is a stock form. If you look at the back page, this is printed on 2 sides. I thought that this was going to be the first resolution of the year. I think this may be 2. Is there another resolution?
There is, but I titled it for number 2.
Okay, so this can still be 1?
Yes.
Okay, so never mind. We don't need to change that.
Wait, let me double.
Yeah, it says 1.
Yep, so that'll be 2.
Okay, so if you would scratch that 1 out. So this is 2025-02. And I will print new copies of this when I submit it to the county, should you decide to pass it.
So we'll need a motion and a second to suspend the 3 reading rule for Resolution 2025-02.
So moved.
Second.
And call the roll, please.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
And we'll need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-02, read by title only, a resolution to proceed of the taxing authority.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
I will transmit that to the Board of Elections and the County Auditor's Office.
Awesome. Thanks for getting that done.
Thank you.
Anything else, Rob?
That's it for me, unless
Question-
anybody has any questions on it.
Yeah, questions for our fiscal officer? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Appreciate it. Under communications, I had just a couple things. We did receive one letter of interest from Mr. Scott Perrell, expressing interest in serving being a volunteer to serve on one of the boards, and you do have copies of the email that he sent me, and we're still looking for anyone else that might be interested as well. But we do have one so far. Probably at the next meeting, we would, and I don't think there's anything, we don't have anything pending right now, do we? So, but at the next meeting, because those terms expire at the end of January, then hopefully we can make the appointments. You should have somewhere in your packet a copy of the existing people that are on the committees, so you can just kind of keep that in mind between now and the next meeting. As far as council committees go, you should have a copy of those. I did not hear from anybody that wanted to change, so those will stay the same in 2025 as what they were in 2024. And I'll go through those quickly. Streets and Sidewalks, the chair is Mr. Hanna with Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Avery as members. Public Safety, the chair is Mr. Hanna with members Mrs. Sweet and Mr. Avery. Public Service, the chair is Mrs. Sweet with Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Bear. Parks and Beautification, the chair is Mr. Bear with Mr. Hanna and Mr. Avery as members. Finance Chair, we have Mr. Whitaker with Mrs. Sweet, Mr. Storm, Ms. Least, and Mr. Howard as members. Legislative Chair, Mrs. Sweet, Mr. Bear, and Ms. Least as members. Drainage Floodplain, the Chair, Mr. Hanna with Mr. Bear and Ms. Least as members. So, if you guys are still okay with this appointment, then I would entertain a motion and a second to approve.
Second.
And call the roll, please.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hanna,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
And Mrs. Sweet, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The governor has asked us to fly our flags at half-staff to the end of the month in memory of President Carter's passing. And I'd like to change that for one day and raise the flag to honor our new president on Inauguration Day on the 20th, if the council would go along with that. Anybody have a
Any
problem with
objections?
it? Objections?
No.
At least for that one day? Okay?
Good with me.
Okay. I don't know if you, okay, good, thank you. That's it, sir.
Thank you very much.
You take care of that, Kevin?
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
And one other quick thing, and I know you might be bringing this up in your reports, I'm not sure, but just good job on the roads. Our guys were out working hard, and they did a nice job. One of the biggest snows we've had in a while,
Yeah.
and they handled it very well.
Yeah.
So please pass that along.
Tell
do.
them we all said so.
Yeah, from everybody. And with that, Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council Presidents. Mayor's Court report in front of you for the month of December. There was one traffic case. Total funds received for the month, $3,013.53. Year to date, $42,078.18. Total remitted to the state for the month, $254. Year to date, $6,932. Total remitted to the village, $2,750.53 for the month. Year to date, $34,879.18, which brings us to the total dispersed of $3,013.53, and year to date, $42,078.18.
I'll move that we accept the mayor's court report as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. So last year at this time, we were about half that?
Yes.
Do we know if there's a reason for that, or?
Activity, increase in activity.
Okay,
Yep, directly related.
good,
Good question.
very good.
Any other items of discussion on this? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hanna,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes,
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And as the mayor said, I do want to echo that. The guys did a fabulous job getting out there, starting late and getting done earlier in the morning and starting again and keeping the roads clear. They did a heck of a job. So I appreciate all that they do as well, so I will pass that on to them. Next is a truck update, the Colorado and the F-250 that we use to plow. The Colorado, with both trucks, there was issues of the battery draining. We couldn't find out what was going on. We had it to a couple different places, and finally we took it to a truck repair place in Dayton. And the Colorado needs a new body control module. It's bad and needs a new battery. That's going to be around $2,400. And the F-250, where the plow plugs into the truck, there was water getting in that plug somehow and causing it to short out. So they're going to repair that as well. And with a new battery on that one too, we'll be probably picking that up tomorrow. And that's going to be, I thought that was $700 to fix that one. So those two trucks will be back into commission. What was I going to say now? Oh, the International. The only kind of casualty we had was we lost about 3 plow bolts, the cutting edge bolts on the International. We got them replaced. So everything's running real well, and Doug's doing a whale of a job to kind of staying on top of things and his preventive maintenance and stuff like that. So
When I rode last Monday night in the International, that truck was almost like it was when it was purchased. We are doing an excellent job on maintenance. It was just almost pristine.
Yeah.
So we're taking care of our equipment. I like to see that.
So everything's going good there. So the next item on my agenda is Citizen of the Year. We're accepting nominations. Applications can be picked up here, or if people want to give us a call, we can email applications. We have sent letters out to the churches and organizations as well. We need those applications back in our office by February the 13th. The deadline for the applications, February 13th for Citizen of the Year. Enon Blood Drive is once again February the 12th. We have 31 spots available. If anybody's interested in donating blood, they can go to donortime.com. And that is from 12:30 to about 6:30 that day. And everything's going to be in here. Once again, they're not going to bring the bus. There's been some issues with some people that kind of climbing up and down the steps to get in the bus. So they decided to forego the bus and have it in here like they originally started to. So once again, that's February 12th, 12:30 to 6:30. I do have the sign ready to post for the vacant lot down there by the church. I got that last week, so we did wait beyond our 30 days it was required. So I guess as soon as the ground, well, no, we got that power post driver, so we'll try that
Go
out.
right through it.
We'll go.
Yep.
I'll get
Just
that
don't hit
sign
any water
up.
lines.
Yeah. I'll get the sign up and get it advertised. If my notes recall me correctly, it was once a week for 5 weeks. And then something about the bids was going to stay open for 60 days. That.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, that's what I think it
I'll
was.
pull that out again, but I
Yeah.
think I wrote it right on the ordinance.
Yep.
So we'll get that going. I guess with that, I guess we're going to have a discussion at some point of price or a reserve or something, because this is going to be a kind of a sealed bid, and we'll, after that 60 days, we'll make it where we open up the bids here at a council meeting. So we'll have to have some sort of discussion sometime about that.
And we always reserve the right to reject any and all bids. So,
Correct.
yeah.
I do have a resolution in your packet to nominate Mr. Hanna and as the board member on the TCC, and with Jason Rose as the alternate for him. That's how it was. Actually, it was a misunderstanding. I thought I was the alternate, but after the county looked into it, Jason was the alternate, and so Jason said he'd do it again, so. And Rick also said that he would do it again. So there is a resolution that needs to be adopted tonight, and I can get that back to Lewis tomorrow, so.
And it is time sensitive, so it's going to have to be passed as an emergency?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to waive the three reading rule.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Then we'll need a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2025-01, which is a resolution approving the nomination of Rick Cannon to the Clark County TCC Board and Jason Rose as his alternate for the Village of Enon, Ohio from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027, and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Abstain.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution does pass. Congratulations, Rick. Congratulations to Jason.
Yeah. Just want to let you know also there was a accident with the streetlight there just right past the Rite Aid entry exit there right at Settlers Park. A gentleman fell asleep and hit the streetlight, so got it all cleaned up and got one priced out, ready to order as soon as I get a PO for it. I'll get that ordered hopefully tomorrow. There's about 11-week lead time on those, so.
He was in court last night, pled guilty, and part of his restitution is to pay for that streetlight.
So
yeah.
that is why, well, that one's out naturally because it's gone, but the next one to the east is out. They were daisy chained together, so that's why that one is out. So
Out meaning not on. It still works if it had the power to it, correct?
as far as I know,
Okay.
because it was working. Now it's not.
It hadn't been working. It actually hadn't been working for a while. One on
The
corner.
street light, or
No, the park light. The one
I'm not
south
talking the
of
park light. I'm talking the
Oh,
street
the
light.
street lights, okay.
Street light got hit. So
Yeah, no, that I knew.
Yeah.
That I knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so yeah, I think that's all I have for now, Mayor. Oh, what? Excuse me. Emergency management newsletter. They're going to start putting those out quarterly. Gives you kind of a idea what's their training sessions, what they're about, things like that, and the free shredding event. It's a while away, but it's Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. We've already had calls and when the next one is.
Wow.
I was wondering.
But that's Tuesday, and
No, I didn't.
I'm sure you'll get reminded of that again. So, thank you.
Questions for our administrator?
I do have one question.
Yeah, Mrs. Sweet.
I heard not too long ago about when plowing snow, they're asking to make sure you plow at least 3 feet around fire hydrants so they're accessible. So just so the guys know to make sure they do that through the winter.
Residents too.
The residents
Yeah.
too, right? Exactly.
Okay.
When we were talking about streetlights, do we? I know it'd probably be difficult for people in the office in here, but with the police, do we do anything as far as going through the village and checking streetlights that are out and taking note of those? Okay. I've just noticed that there's quite a few that are out. I don't know if it's up to the residents to contact.
I've gotten quite a few calls from residents saying, hey, the light across my house is out. I go down and get a poll number, and we put it in, in the computer, and we
Okay.
emails confirming that they received the email and confirming that it, been fixed. So,
Okay.
but
there's
the
no-
ones I notice, I kind of get, but I'm kind of.
I know I've called on ones that's been out on our road a couple times.
And I'll tell you, the best way to do it is if a resident calls and the village calls, those seem to get fixed very quickly.
And I know there's a resident that he kind of submits. I mean, anybody can get on Ohio
Right.
Edison site and submit, so
Yeah, that's what
that
I
helps
know.
out. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. And both of you guys, appreciate your work what you did in 2024, and I think things are going to go well in 2025.
Thank you.
With that, Chief, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and council and residents. In front of you, council, you have the stats for the PD in December. We did have some highlights with it. They did 100 traffic stops, 28 citations. Several of those did have some drugs tied to them and stuff, so a lot of them did go downtown.
They had, I'm
And-
sorry, what'd you say, drugs?
Yes, we got guys are getting some drugs off the street a little bit in December. Actually, I think Officer Schaefer's the one that did it in the last month, but at any rate, all of them together. But and 17 arrests. I don't know about the crashes, but we had a few of those. But at any rate, those are the stats for December. If you have any questions on that, I'll answer them. But now under miscellaneous communication, I have several things. But first off, before I forget, when we had all that snow, I was a tow truck that day. I pushed several people out, but there was a gentleman named Mike. All I know is his name's Mike. He was an older guy. He helped me push a car through a decent amount of snow. So Mike, you know who you are. Thank you so much for your help. Yes, I was exhausted. That was the second one for me that day. And I had the paper, or the post lady told me I couldn't push her van out. So of course, anytime you tell me I can't do something, I have to do it. But she almost had me. But at any rate, the guys, the street guys did a fantastic job of clearing. There was just a lot of stuff coming down out of the air. But I went down there and talked to Doug. I think it was, I don't know, it had to be about 10 in the morning. I was getting air in one of the tires, and he had told me he had been there since midnight. And he acted like, I know he don't sleep when he drive it, but he had some energy for being up that late. So, but my hat's off to all of them. But at any rate, can't even read my own handwriting. Start of the year, I've been working. As you know, we were originally, several years ago, we were going to go to a report system spelling with the county, but since over the course of some time of just building up our in-house OLEG system, it is something free from the state, but I switched over to electronic crash reports. We started pushing that out, and it looks like everybody is good on it. They're all trained. We've had several recently, so it works out great. And what that allows, one, it allows the officer to submit that. Once they've finished it on the computer, they push a submit button. It electronically sends me an alert. I can access that from anywhere because the crash reports have to be reviewed by an officer, and then they have to be submitted to a state, and they have to be submitted to the state within 5 days of the initial report. So that sped that process up. No more hand jamming them, so to speak, and they look a lot cleaner. So all the officers, and I even did my first one on it too. Easier sometimes to tell people how to do something when you know how to do it than actually do it yourself. So, but I got to do mine too. But it works out great, and they're all doing it. So the next is we're working on the citation module, and what that will allow is back prior to when folks you might not know, but earlier in the days before OLEG revamped their system, we would enter our citations, and I could go in there and see how many speeding citations were written, so to speak. But when they redid it, they took that module away, and because they've gone to the electronic tickets, and we didn't have that, so I'm unable to get those stats without finding them. And since then, looks like I figured it out to manually enter our paper tickets, but still be able to assign them in-house and be able to follow the stats. So hopefully throughout this year, we'll be able to track that a lot better because of that feature. Reference the lights. We had a department meeting on January 10th here. This was last Friday, and several things were discussed about the expectations and the past year, and then what we were doing through 2025. But I also did talk to the officers right before I took some time off. I'll get with them to follow up on that. But what we do with the traffic light or the street lights, I'd ask them to go through and check them. Generally, in the past, we generate a list, push it on up to the administrative office, and then I guess you guys call Ohio Edison. Mm-hmm. I never knew what you did. I just thought they went out and switched the ball. But I did talk to Schaefer and Hupp mainly, and I'll get with them and follow up on that list and get that to Kevin as soon as I can. Last but not least, I have the dispatching agreement from the Clark County Sheriff's Office for 2025. It all reads the same except for the pricing. It looks like, and again, they go back, but it looks like this year it'd be $12,628. That'd be for the period of January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, with the first payment due February 1st of 25 of $6,314, and then again in August 1st, 25 of $6,314. We are paying $5.50 per call. That includes everything, so. We do
And that
traffic-
part hasn't changed, has it, Mike? That's the same. That's what I
No,
thought.
it hasn't changed. We do a traffic stops, $5.50. We assist another agency, it's $5.50. But, we've discussed this before, but I can tell you that paying a full-time employee to be a dispatcher and have all that equipment would be costly. So though that sounds like a large number, and yeah, some of it, I kind of think that
What was it last year, around 75?
7,000 and some change. So
That's what I was thinking, 75.
the increase obviously was, I think, due in large part to the increased amount of traffic stops, which once I have my annual report, should have that by the end of the next council meeting. One in particular, we had an officer, don't quote me on it, was roughly 736, I believe the officer did throughout the year, which is good, but at the beginning he was kind of doing a bunch. But I think they're increasing, but that's okay. The officers, we did work throughout the year, like I had said, back in the beginning of '24. Some of the things that we handle, for example, if you see somebody that's kind of broke down, we don't necessarily have to let dispatch know that we're gonna stop and check on them instead of piping it out over dispatch. See what you got first. But I also tell my officers, don't hesitate to tell dispatch where you're at if you want to. We don't do cold stops or anything like that, but to try to decrease the amount of just talking on the radio, because that comes with a fee. And they've all done pretty good with doing that. And I continuously remind them, say, hey, maybe you wouldn't have to do that. So we're watching that too to help monetarily.
And I think initially we thought it was going to be around this 10,000, 12,000 when we got back. So this is not unexpected. So
Yeah, and our call volume is higher according
It is.
to the numbers they charge. It's like I said, we just are reserved about if we cannot say, create a dispatch over the radio, then the officers are doing that, which is much appreciated because, again, that saves us $5.50 every time they do that. And that adds up, as you can see. from
So
this
you'll need
bill.
a motion to enter into that agreement.
Yes, I'll need a motion
Okay.
to enter this in this agreement, and then it just has a place for the council and everybody to sign off on. And once we get that, if you could get the copy to me, I will put that in an envelope and hand deliver it to dispatch myself. So if
Yeah.
I do that.
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Least?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Chief, anything else?
Yes, one more thing. To all the citizens and everybody that sent our department all the Christmas cards and candies and all of that, and then of course the folks that we do the vacation house checks, they've dropped some cards off. It would be a laundry list, but we all the officers get to read them. They all enjoyed the treats. We very much appreciate it. They are very thankful. I am very thankful. And for those of you who took time to send me some letters and some cards, that was a perfect timing. I very much appreciate that, and I will obviously let you know that in my response to all those, but I do appreciate it for that. Happy New Year to everybody, and that'll be in my report.
Questions for our chief? Okay. And thanks to you and the department for what they've done in 2024, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on, Mr. Bear, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. December 11th, we had a Parks meeting to discuss the park project. Trustee Pettit attended that meeting with several residents. Very good discussion. We came to we have a phase one sort of in the works of having 3 ball diamonds built, depending on if we can get the funding for that. That's would be the minimum needed to get Little League back home in Enon versus on Snyder Road. These ball fields would be equivalent to the Snyder Road ball fields as well. We did have a discussion with Softball Little League as well. They're not looking to move right now, but they are wanting to move to the park as well. That would probably
go into a phase 2 of that project. We're also discussed, I believe, was with the state about putting in a wetland in the corner, yeah. That potentially could open up grants for the park as well. Kevin's doing some of that work, and I think you already got a response.
Yes.
Yeah. So our next meeting is scheduled for January 29th at 6 PM. We'll welcome anyone to come and give more input to it. That's all I have on that.
And I think it's a good idea. It sounds like you're going to try to have regular meetings, Ben.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea to keep
Yeah, I
stuff
think our goal
rolling.
is at least every other month.
Great idea. Very good. Are there any questions,
Do you want to add
comments?
anything, Mr. Hanna?
Rick?
No, not really. We're still in the master plan. I'd like to see 5, but 3 is what we can possibly afford.
I believe 3 is an attainable goal.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. And we are actively looking to try to come up with some funding on that as much as what we can. So.
Thank you. Rob?
I don't know that if I announced this at the organizational meeting, but the park donation fund is now active and it's on our books. So we have a place to hold and segregate those funds should they come in.
Awesome. Okay, we don't have anything else. Karen, welcome this evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing your folks along tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the meeting. And any comments? Anything? Okay, you're welcome anytime.
Thanks for coming in.
Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.